Good evening, high school football fans. This is High School Football America for December the 19th. I'm Jeff Fisher, host of the show and founder and editor-in-chief of High School Football America and highschoolfootballamerica.com. Welcome to show number 100, which just happens to coincide with the end of the 2013 high school football season, which comes to a close this weekend as California and Texas crown their respective state champions in all of the classifications. And also, don't want to leave out Connecticut, which thanks to the snow is tonight going to crown its big school champion, the Class L champion. That game was postponed from over the weekend with the snow in the Northeast. So it is the end of the 2013 season, and we have a great show for you tonight. Before we get rolling into it, though, I want to thank you as you make it all possible by tuning in each and every week. We are above 500,000 downloads over our first 100 shows, and we really, really appreciate you tuning in each and every week, either listening live or downloading us. It's just been an incredible, fun run for us here that's had a lot of twists and turns. It was we moved the headquarters from Chicago to Los Angeles. We're having a great time here in Southern California, and we're just excited to make things bigger and better over the next 100 shows that we'll be doing. So again, thank you so much for making this very, very special to me personally. Let's thank all of our partners that make the show possible, starting with Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding dads out there across the land, whenever you're sharing that passion of sports with your kids, you should sit down and do it over a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Also brought to you tonight by the Debris Inhibitor Razor. Razor spelled R-A-Z-U-R. That's TDIRazor.com. It's lightweight, it's durable, it's seamless, and more important than anything, it keeps those pesky rubber crumbs from field turf out of your shoes when you're playing, players. This is easy to use. It's machine washable, and our friends at Southern Sport, the producers of this American-made patented product, want to give you a discount. All you have to do is go to TDIRazor.com and put in the code HSFBARZR1, and you will get a 40% discount on your order. $14.99, that's all it takes. This also is a cost savings to coaches out there, the programs. You know, your players that like to spat, tape costs a lot. This gives you that look and feel of spatting. It's something that you need to get into your wardrobe if you're a football player. Comes in all sizes, lots of great colors, and great things coming up in the year 2014, and we just appreciate the help that the Debris Inhibitor Razor people, Joey Teichert and company, have given us here at High School Football America. Also brought to you tonight by the Maxwell Football Club, maxwellfootballclub.org. A.J. McCarron from Alabama is the player of the year. That was announced last week on ESPN, and just proud to be a part of the Maxwell Football Club. The great thing about the Maxwell Football Club, unlike the Heisman, which you saw won by Jameis Winston over the weekend, is the Maxwell Football Club allows you as a member for only $35 to vote on the College Player of the Year, the College Defensive Player of the Year, and the NFL Pro and Coach of the Year. It's a great organization, America's oldest football organization. You can learn more by going to maxwellfootballclub.org. And brought to you tonight by Webleats at webleats.com. Changing the face of sports recruiting. Tim Curran and the gang do a great job of giving you a free student-athlete profile. They do a wonderful job of getting your information out to coaches at all levels, but do a really great job at the D2 and D3 levels. So again, go to webleats.com. I want to thank all of them for making this show possible each and every week. Again, show number 100 tonight, and we're going to have a big focus tonight on the California and Texas championships. Right now, 4 games being played in Texas today. Go to highschoolfootballamerica.com to see our scoreboard. Also follow our partners at texashsfootball.com. Their Twitter handle is TexasHSFootball to see all the scores as they go along, and we will have wrap-up stories throughout the weekend on highschoolfootballamerica.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Our handle is HSFB America, and also on YouTube. Put up a new video today that will prep you for the big championship game in Class 5A, the Division I game between Allen, the top-ranked team in the latest High School Football America Top 25, and when we say latest, we mean that last one came out at the end of the regular season. We do not do rankings during the postseason. It's just too difficult to do. On Sunday, after all the games are complete, at noontime, we will release our final 2013 High School Football America Top 25. If Allen beats Pearland, although it's close with number 2 Booker T. Washington, I did some math. It looks like the Eagles will reign as national champs again. Last year, they were co-national champs with John Curtis. The interesting thing is, with Kyler Murray, their junior quarterback, back next year, it's not going to be any surprise to anyone if the Allen Eagles are preseason number 1 again next year. But we put up a video to show that Allen, isn't going to waltz to this championship. Back in 2010, the first time I went to a Texas football championship weekend. And by the way, if you've never done it, you have to do it. This is the best high school football scene in America. I've said it before. This Pennsylvania guy was shut up when he went there because it was just a raucous crowd. Euless Trinity and Pearland both came into that game back in 2010 undefeated. Trinity looking for another national championship. They were riding a 28-game win streak, and Pearland upset Trinity 28-24 in that game, which came down to the final play, a Hail Mary by Euless Trinity. We put up video from that. You can see that on the homepage at highschoolfootballamerica.com. Also by going to our YouTube channel. All of our social media for you in the upper right-hand side of the website. You see YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and iTunes. You can always listen to all past High School Football America shows in many different ways in our archives at artistfirst.com. We have them up on our website at highschoolfootballamerica.com, and we also have them on iTunes, and it's all free. Listen whenever you want, on demand. That's the way we do it here at High School Football America. We will never be a pay service. We believe in giving you your high school football information free and whenever you want it. Now let's talk about tonight's show. 2 great guests on the show. The guy that's been on the show the most over our first 100 shows, Steve Spiewak from Max Preps, their senior national writer there. He does their rankings, and Steve's going to come in here and talk about the championship games being played this weekend in California and Texas and what that means for his national rankings that will be coming out on Monday. And also on the show tonight, dear friend out here in Southern California, his name is Jeff Steinberg. He is the head coach at Santiago High School in Corona, California. He, back on June 22nd, had to stand over a player who was paralyzed after suffering a severe neck and spinal cord injury. His player's name, Jordan Walker, is recovering. It's been a slow recovery. As we know, this is always the case, and the smallest sort of movement and feeling always leads to a lot of great hope. Jeff Steinberg is a great man, a great father, and we're going to talk to him about Jordan Walker, the injury, and what you can do to help. It's hashtag Pray for Jordan Walker. If you'd like, you can go to GoFundMe.com to donate to the Jordan Walker Fund to help defray some of the medical costs. So we look forward to talking to Jeff Steinberg tonight on the show. Feel free to tweet us throughout the show. We are so excited to get show number 100 off and rolling. So we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk with Steve Spiewak from Max Preps. You're listening to High School Football America on the Artist First Radio Network, brought to you tonight by the TDI Razor at TDIRazor.com. Football players, listen up. I'm going to tell you about a great new product and a new sponsor here at High School Football America. And if you're one of those players that when you're playing on field turf, those nasty pieces of rubber get in your shoes and just annoy the heck out of you, well, there's a product out there that's going to take care of that. It is innovative and it's American-made. It's called the Debris Inhibitor Razor, and the Razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of the athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris also out of the gym bags and out of locker rooms. It's favorited by athletes who want that look of tape, by trainers who no longer have time to tape only for show, and of course by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in their house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor at TDIRazor.com is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable. It's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee, and like I said at the beginning, It is 100% American-made. We love that at High School Football America. The debris inhibitor razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping shoelaces tight. It is fully customizable via screen print or embroidery, machine washable, and most important, it's easy to get on and off. The debris inhibitor razor is available in black, white, and pink, and other colors may be specially ordered. Sizes are available from the youth level right up to that Bigfoot, the extra large shoe at 14 to 17. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 other partners, Southern Sport Inc. created the debris inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced product engineering with superior fabric construction, patented design, and its proven innovation. That is the Debris Inhibitor Razor, a new sponsor here at High School Football America. We highly recommend you check them out at tdirazor.com. That's razor spelled R-A-Z-U-R. When you contact them, mention you heard the ad on High School Football America. You'll be glad you did. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by Tony the Tiger, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony reminding you of all you dads out there, whenever you sit down and share that passion for high school football or any sport for that matter, make sure you sit down with the kids at the breakfast table and do it over a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Well, as we mentioned at the top, show number 100, and it couldn't come at a better time. We didn't plan it this way, but the high school football season 2013 style closes this weekend. Big games in California and Texas, and who better to come on than the guy that's been on the show. This is his 9th time, but we're kind of poor here, so he doesn't get a parting gift when we leave. His name is Steve Spiewak, the national senior writer for Max Preps, maxpreps.com. Steve puts together the rankings and a whole lot of other stuff that he does a great job with throughout the year, and he's here to talk about this weekend, the 2013 season, and we're going to even force him to talk about next year already. Welcome to the show, Steve. Number 9. I don't know what that gets you, but we're proud that you're the guy that's been on the most.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I always enjoy hopping on with you, and hopefully I'm not a cat, and this is my 9th life and my final go round. I'm hoping for a feline second life, I suppose.
There you go. You'll land on your feet as you normally do. What a year it's been, and you know, I don't think there's a better way to come down to the end of the season than big games in Texas and California. Obviously, out here in Southern California, we are just jacked up to see the big one between St. John Bosco and De La Salle and Texas. The Allen Eagles have had quite a year, and I go back to 2010 when I watched Pearland upset Euless Trinity in person, which is still the best game I've ever seen. So I don't know where I want to start, but I'm going to go right here in the backyard because everybody wants to know what you're thinking about. St. John Bosco has had an incredible year. De La Salle is De La Salle, whether Bob Ladouceur is there or not. So break this one down for us.
Jeff, I am as excited for this football game, I think, as I've ever been for any high school football game. In talking to some of my California colleagues, Leland Gordon, Mitch Stevens, Kevin Askelin, this seems like probably the most heavily anticipated California high school football game in recent memory. I think, you're talking about big-time California games. You're thinking of kind of the Long Beach Poly, De La Salle games in 01, 02, and this game probably is right up there, just given, some of it is the De La Salle mystique, but a lot of it is how well St. John Bosco has performed this year. I think this is clearly the most formidable opponent that De La Salle will have faced in any CIF bowl game. But De La Salle just seems so unbeatable when it comes to December. They nearly lost to Serra at the early part of their season, and since then they just continue to get better and better. And I think one of the things that kind of exemplifies the De La Salle program is just that their kids improve so much more, I think, than a lot of other programs. So most football teams are better by December than they were in September, but it seems that De La Salle is that much better by the end of the season. So it is just really an exciting clash of games, and you look at the wins that St. John Bosco has in the Trinity League, they've just been dominant. I mean, we haven't seen a team roll through the likes of modern-day Servite like St. John Bosco has. And so I think if St. John Bosco is able to complete their season with a victory over De La Salle, they certainly have to be in that mix for that number one spot. But if De La Salle, who has not had the same type of strength of schedule to this point, if De La Salle finds a way to win, then you look at, they beat St. John Bosco, who beat basically everybody else. So it's a really, really fascinating game on a number of levels, and high school football fans should be excited, whether you're in California and you're very familiar with these teams, or, this is an appealing game for any high school football fan, I think.
No, and a clash of styles and all that other good stuff. Talking with Steve Spiewak tonight from Max Preps, maxpreps.com. You can follow Steve on Twitter at Spiewak. That's Spiewak. Just to let everybody know, in Steve's excellent 25 rankings, Bosco coming in at number 3, De La Salle at number 4. Before we hop off of this one, you mentioned the early part of the season for De La Salle, which they had some struggles, or at least some close game, let's say. How much of that was due in part to the changing of the guard with Coach Ladouceur stepping down?
I think, Jeff, even the last few seasons with Coach Ladd, before Justin Allenbaugh got the job, you saw a little bit of those kind of early season struggles with De La Salle. I think because their whole game plan, especially on offense, relies so much on precision, firing off the ball, nailing your block, finding that seam. That precision, I think, takes a little time, especially when they have new guys up front or when they're breaking in a new player at a position. Some of that just, you just need reps. You need time. You need, it takes, some games to really gel. So I don't think it has anything to do with kind of the coaching turnover, because that transition went about as smoothly and seamlessly as possible, because Coach Ladd is still helping out there. The greatest high school football assistant of all time. So I don't think it had much to do with the coaching transition. I think it's really just, De La Salle takes a little while to get going, and once they're rolling along in December, they're really hard to beat, and we've seen that the last 3 years in the bowl games. They just, they go up against what appears to be a formidable SoCal foe, whether it's Servite or Westlake or Corona Centennial, and they just steamroll these teams.
Yeah, and that was like last year's game when they beat Centennial. It was I thought it was a much closer game, but like you said, December is their time of year. Talking with Steve Spiewak tonight from Max Preps. Let's move it down to Texas. A couple of games I want to talk about, especially in 5A, and then we'll get to the scoring machine in 4A. But let's start with Allen. They sit at number 2. They're in the Division 1 championship game in Class 5A, taking on Pearland. And as I mentioned at the top, I saw Pearland be a undefeated team with not much of a shot in 2010 against Trinity and beat them, and I think they could be in that same position right here. But tell me about the Eagles versus the Oilers.
You make a great point, I think, about Pearland in that they were in these same shoes a few years back when they faced Euless Trinity. They were very unheralded entering that game. I think very few people gave them a shot, and then they ended up pulling off the upset. Tony Heath was National Coach of the Year, and it was a dream season. This year, I think, we had them on our national radar and in the rankings, except then they lost to Manville 42-7. And so, they hadn't really played anybody up until then. They got pounded by Manville on the road, and so you kind of think, all right, maybe this team is not for real. Maybe they really just haven't played anybody and they were exposed. Then the playoffs come along, and they beat Lamar, who people thought could make a return appearance in the state final. They beat San Antonio Madison, and here they are against Allen. So it's hard to tell how good is Pearland really. They got smoked by Manville, but now they have 3 or 4 very impressive victories in a row. I think the story for them is their defense. Their defense kind of carries that team. They were exceptional throughout the regular season. They gave up some points last week to Madison, but I think if they can figure out, some way to just keep it close, then, they certainly have a shot in the fourth quarter.
I remember that game like it was yesterday. I've never been to a high school football game with 43,000, and I've never been to an NFL game in Cowboy Stadium. I should say that. But the 43,000 in that stadium that night had to be like a sellout crowd. It's still the best high school football game I've ever seen in person. Talking with Steve Spiewak tonight from Max Prep. Steve does just a great job with the rankings and stories throughout the year, leading a great staff, as he mentioned there. Let's drop down in Division 2 and Katy, Texas, a team that doing something that no one's ever done. They're going for 2 16-0 seasons, and standing in the way is a team that I think is really underrated because their losses came to Allen and DeSoto, and that's Cedar Hill, and we know Cedar Hill gave them a go last year in the championship game. So who do you like in this one?
Oh, Jeff, it's hard to pick against Katy, and I love Coach McGuire and everything that he's done at Cedar Hill, but I'm just so impressed with how Katy seems to reload. They lost Adam Taylor off last year's squad, and then they bust out junior Rodney Anderson, who's rushed for 32 touchdowns this year, and they have a sophomore running back, Kyle Porter. Just that Tigers ground game mixed with that Gary Joseph defense is a recipe for potentially 32 consecutive wins for Katy. But I agree with you. This Cedar Hill team, don't be fooled by the 2 losses they have. They have some big wins. They beat Denton Guyer to kick off the season, and they've looked really, really impressive in the last few weeks. They beat Lake Travis, obviously. They beat Denton Ryan pretty handily. And so, they have the athletes, they have the speed, they have the coaching. Joey McGuire's won a state title before, and then he brought the team to the state title game last year. So this is going to be another great game, and I really think this is a coin flip. I'll take Katy because they won it last year, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if Cedar Hill figures out a way to win.
I agree with you. It's going to be a very, very close game. Talking to Steve Spiewak tonight, talking the last weekend of the 2013 high school football season, championship games in California and Texas, and should mention tonight Connecticut will finally, thanks to the snow, play its final game of the season, so we don't forget about the Nutmeg State. But let's drop down into Class 4A Aledo. 1,000 points, not out of the realm of possibility. This team, at least statistically, has the best offense ever in America. Tell us a little bit about the Bearcats, because I knew a lot about Jonathan Gray from a couple of years ago, as you did. But what's this year's team have that's able to put up 1,000 points, maybe?
Well, I think they have a great offensive line, and I think they have a great head coach. Aledo is a pretty special place. The community support there for their football team is really stellar. And, you get that in a lot of places in Texas, but Aledo, I think, even more so than most. And to your point, Jeff, you looked at Jonathan Gray a few years ago and all the success that Aledo had while Gray was their running back. And frankly, I'm not sure we expected to see Aledo back on kind of the national scene so quickly. But here they are. They're 15-0. They've outscored opponents 985 to 130, which is absolutely, just boggles the mind. But the Brennan team they're going up against, they've won 14 in a row. They had a season-opening loss to Foster, but this is a good football team. And last week you saw a few chinks in the Aledo armor. They got off to a very slow start. It was close at the half. So I would not be surprised if Brenham is kind of in a similar situation where at the start of the third quarter, they're in the game. Whether or not they can completely keep Aledo's offense down, remains to be seen, but it should be a good game.
Should be. Let's kind of go back a week, actually 2 weeks in this case, with Booker T. Washington, because they won the 4A championship 2 weekends ago. You've got them sitting up there right at the top, and of course, the big game against Miami Central, which is number 5 in your rankings. They pick up another state championship, the 6A. So kind of finalize your thoughts on Florida this year. Obviously, Booker T. got the best of Central in their regular season, but does Booker T. kind of hold at the top? Not that I'm asking you to give away who's going to be number 1 come next Monday when you release your final polls, but tell us a little bit about the Booker T. and the year that Miami Central had.
Sure. So I think the challenge for a school like Booker T. is that the majority of their signature wins came early in the season, and so when you're looking at high school football rankings in December, you're probably more influenced by, what just happened last weekend or what happened in the state finals. And so you see Allen get a big win over DeSoto. You see St. John Bosco get a big win over Corona Centennial. And those are kind of fresh in your mind, and you're thinking there's no way, that Booker T is better than this Allen team or better than this St. John Bosco team or whoever it might be. But when you kind of evaluate the full season resume, Booker T. Washington, their win over Norcross was the 6A state champion. Booker T went on the road in their first game and won by 50-something points. And then they beat Miami Central. And, right now, if you put Miami Central on the field with any other high school team in the country, I'm not sure I would pick against Miami Central given how well they've been playing. So, and then they, throw in the Bishop Gorman victory for Washington. So that's the challenge, is that Washington's really impressive victories mostly came in August and September. They obviously rolled through their playoffs, but you kind of have to take a wider scope when you evaluate them and realize that they have some really impressive victories. They just came in the first part of the season.
Yeah, I think I told you before we started taping. Our look at it is, the opponent's record's the same when you compare them to Allen. The margin of victory the same, but Booker T has 3 state champions they beat along the way, and at the end, Allen, if Cedar Hill wins, that's their championship because they play an all Texas schedule. Talking with Steve Spiewak tonight, Max Preps, and a couple of the other things you guys have coming out here, and I want you to kind of talk about and give some names because there's some great names on the Player of the Year watch. It's been a phenomenal year for quarterbacks specifically. So what's it look like as you guys start to analyze and figure out who your Player of the Year is?
Well, probably in the third quarter of the DeSoto Allen game last week, I think we were leaning toward Desmond White, and then the fourth quarter happened, and Kyler Murray really made a strong statement for Allen, and he'll be an interesting guy if Allen ends up winning the state title there this weekend, because his statistics are not quite as good as some of the other quarterbacks around the country, but doing what he did against the schedule that he played certainly warrants some real heavy consideration for the award. But you have guys like Will Greer, had a phenomenal season in North Carolina. Schuler Bentley Burns had another big year. Elijah Hood, running back from Charlotte Catholic in North Carolina, he had a monstrous year. I would probably say, Kyler Murray could be the favorite, but I think there's still, the final week can kind of cement, clear up a few things. So he's certainly not a lock to win it, but I think we'll consider him heavily.
You mentioned Bentley. We got Jake Browning out here. We're going to see Josh Rosen, St. John Bosco this weekend. Some staggering touchdown numbers this year put up by some people. Where's the final? Where's the plateau? I mean, are we going to have a kid sometime in the very near future going to toss for 100 touchdowns?
It would not completely surprise me. Just when you think you've seen it all in high school football, Jeff, as you know, you can continually be amazed by what happens, because there are marks that, a few years ago we thought would never fall, and now they're shattered and broken, and there are new marks. So it's going to be interesting, especially as these kind of prolific pass-heavy offenses continue to flourish, and 7-on-7 ball where kids are throwing 11 months out of the year, and they have this chemistry with their receivers, and coaches are installing complex offenses. I don't know what the limit is. We could see a Folsom quarterback 5 years from now throw for 90 touchdowns or throw for 100 touchdowns. It wouldn't totally surprise me.
I agree with you on that. Steve Spiewak from Max Preps, maxpreps.com. On the air tonight, show number 100. We're wrapping up the season. The national rankings, your final top 25, excellent top 25, comes out Monday. Again, I'm not going to ask you to give it away if it all goes according to plan here, but what I do want to ask you is we had you on when you had your preseason, your early contenders back in June. You were there before the season started with us. Who's in the poll right now, because most seasons, obviously, all states except for 2 have ended, that kind of surprised you, came out of nowhere, but they're in there and are probably going to find their way into your final poll?
Well, I was really impressed with East Jefferson in Louisiana, stepping up in the title game and knocking off a very, very talented Edna Carr team, an Edna Carr team that we had ranked for most of the season. There were some really good high school football teams in Louisiana this year. John Curtis, won a state title. St. Augustine had Leonard Fournette and a whole bunch of D1 guys, and Edna Carr was a very, very good football team. But then you look at East Jefferson, at the end of the season, they're unbeaten. They have a state title, and, they're our top-ranked Louisiana team. So they really snuck up, because there were a number of Louisiana teams on the radar this year. but for them to emerge and kind of be that top-ranked team was really surprising and very impressive.
And I know your crystal ball is sitting right to either your right or left right now, so I can't let you go without saying, 2014 is pretty darn close, at least, on the calendar it is. Allen, as you mentioned, with Kyler Murray only being a junior, has got to be considered, one of the top teams next year. But can you give us a little sneak peek? What's under the hood for next year?
I think with Kyler Murray back, with their star sophomore lineman back, Greg Little, 6'6", 280 pounds, and just knowing the way that Allen reloads, it would surprise me if Allen were not at least near the top of our preseason rankings next year. Another team that I think will be in that discussion is probably Hoover from Alabama. They lose Marlon Humphrey, probably their best player, but they were very young on defense, and they have a junior quarterback, and they're just on top of the high school football world in Alabama. I'm not sure they'll be number one, but I think they'll be highly ranked next year. So probably Allen and Hoover, off the top of my head, are two teams that should bring a lot back and should be in the mix for our national rankings.
Well, Steve, we always appreciate your time on here. Like I said, appearance number 9. There is no parting gift. If I had some rice-a-roni in the cupboard, maybe I'll ship it to you there in Chicago to warm you up. But we just appreciate everything, you taking the time to come on the show here, and you just always throw down some great intel. So thanks for that. Thanks for the friendship, and have a Merry Christmas.
You too, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Very welcome. Steve Spiewak of Max Preps taking a break. Coming back, a tragic story out here in California, Southern California. Young man getting injured, but getting better every day. And we're going to have the story of Jordan Walker when we come back with his head coach, Jeff Steinberg, and how you can help here over the holidays. That story and more. You're listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network. Football players, listen up. I'm going to tell you about a great new product and a new sponsor here at High School Football America. And if you're one of those players that when you're playing on field turf, those nasty pieces of rubber get in your shoes and just annoy the heck out of you, well, there's a product out there that's going to take care of that. It is innovative and it's American-made. It's called the Debris Inhibitor Razor, and the razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of the athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris also out of the gym bags and out of locker rooms. It's favorited by athletes who want that look of tape, by trainers who no longer have time to tape only for show, and of course by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in their house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor at TDIRazor.com is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable. It's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee, and like I said at the beginning, it is 100% American-made, and we love that at High School Football America. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping shoelaces tight. It is fully customizable via screen print or embroidery, machine washable, and most important, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is available in black, white, and pink, and other colors may be specially ordered. Sizes are available from the youth level right up to that big foot, the extra large shoe at 14 to 17. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 other partners, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced product engineering with superior fabric construction, patented design, and its proven innovation. That is the Debris Inhibitor Razor, a new sponsor here at High School Football America. We highly recommend you check them out at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled R-A-Z-U-R. When you contact them, mention you heard the ad on High School Football America. You'll be glad you did. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger, reminding all you dads, whenever you're sharing that passion for the game of football, or any sport for that matter, make sure you sit down with the kids and do it over a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Well, as I mentioned going into break, a serious football injury occurred back in November out here in Southern California. A good friend of mine from the time I moved out to Los Angeles is the head coach at the school where the injury occurred. The young man's name is Jordan Walker, a junior linebacker who suffered a significant injury to his neck and his spinal cord during a playoff game. And Jeff Steinberg, the head coach of the Corona Santiago High School Sharks, is on the line to talk about Jordan's recovery and a lot of other things. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Glad to be on the show.
Well, obviously we wish it was under better circumstances. Some time has moved on here. A lot of fundraisers, a lot of prayers, a lot of thoughts, and we just wanted to educate the people around the nation of what happened to Jordan. So let's just first start, things weren't good after the neck injury. Goes to the hospital, very little movement. Tell us the latest, and we'll kind of back it up from there.
Well, Jordan is now at Kaiser Hospital in Fontana, California, where they've got just great team of neurologists there and terrific nurses, and he's under the best of the best for care, and he's having some movement in his upper chest. Still no feelings in his arms and legs. I've had some reports today about some sensations, but I would need to confirm that with parents first. And as you can imagine, any injury like that takes a lot of positive thought and prayer and keeping your hopes alive. And although he's still on a ventilator, I understand that each day his amount of time where he's breathing on his own, they're doing these sessions called sprint sessions, where it's actually a workout that they do using the ventilator and cutting down the amount of oxygen that it's giving you, where you're breathing on your own. And he's up to over 2 hours breathing on his own. There's still a tube in his throat at the time, but those are all positive signs. And I think just knowing what his mom and dad are like, they're tough, very strong-minded people. You take those things into consideration and believe that there is hope.
And that positive thought, the prayer, that all comes into play here. I mentioned to you before we started taping this that we had a young man last year out here in Southern California who suffered a severe head trauma injury on the football field, and he has made a complete recovery, and doctors didn't think that. And when I had him on the air just a couple of months ago, he said it was all about those positive thoughts he had, plus from others. We're talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight, the head coach at Santiago High School in Corona, California. His injured player's name is Jordan Walker. We're going to talk about how you can pitch in and help raise some funds here as they've set up a fundraising account on GoFundMe. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about the injury itself. It occurred in your playoff game against Upland on November the 22nd. I've seen video of it. It to me, and I don't want to understate this, but it seems like kind of a freak accident in many ways. Can you describe it for the listeners how the injury occurred?
You're right, a total freak accident. Late in the first quarter, Jordan was just going in on a routine tackle, and the running back Nathan Tilford, I believe, from Upland, very talented young man. As a matter of fact, as a freshman, he's already had an offer from USC, which says a lot about him. He was just hurdling over some players that had fallen before him, and Jordan came in for the tackle. He was in a great hit position, and unfortunately, before he could even extend his arms up to tackle, the young man came down on Jordan, and it happened so fast, and it was just like you said, a freak injury. It's not like he had his head down. I believe because he had his neck braced properly that he just crushed his spinal cord, and there was not one part of his spinal cord was severed, which, again, for rehab and giving hope, those are things that you need.
Well said. Talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight, Santiago head coach of the football program in Corona, California, Southern California, talking about his player Jordan Walker, who is in the hospital right now and needs some major prayers and thoughts going your way as he recovers from a major spinal cord injury. I mentioned that there is a fundraising account set up at GoFundMe.com. We're going to tweet this out and put it up on our website as well. They've already raised $43,000 as of the taping of this on Wednesday. today, so please, if you can, go onto the website and donate to the cause. As a coach, and obviously each and every game, is anything's possible. Tell me personally what goes through your mind as you walk out there and you see your young man and I know how much your team means to you. What goes through your brain as the coach on what has just happened to this player as he lays there, and you're really helpless at that point?
You do feel a sense of helplessness, but I think that just going right out of coach role to dad role, it brings you back to reality. And we needed to be there and be strong for him and keep the young man calm. And that's a situation where it'd be very easy for anybody to panic. And we're so fortunate that we have a great training staff at our high school. We're very blessed to have the people that we have, and that starts with Ricky Watson, who was very, very calm and composed under very stressful circumstances. And she had her assistants with her, and they made sure to do a thorough check. And then when it was determined that he wasn't able to move, we quickly got the ambulance personnel on the field. They were able to put him on the spine board and get him loaded into the vehicle and get him off to the hospital. And something like that is very surreal. As quick as it seemed it was going by at the time, I understood that he was on the field for at least 20 minutes, being tended to make sure everything was done right. And, like I said, you go from coach to dad real quick, and it's so important to stay calm. And those are the boys that, I think the world of all the kids in our football program, and we don't even want the smallest of injuries to occur, and that's a pretty big one. And for the team to be able to play football after that really, really was tough.
I was going to ask you that as the next question, and we are talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight, head coach at Santiago High School in Corona, California, about his injured player, Jordan Walker, who's in the hospital and needs your thoughts and your prayers right now as he recovers from a major spinal cord injury. You said it happened in the first quarter. What did you say to the team when you've got a lot of football to play?
There was a lot of questions for the next quarter and a bit going into the half, and we were able to regroup in the half, and again, for us to be able to even play the remainder of that first half was very, very tough. But we have a real resilient group, and they care so much about each other that they don't want to let anybody down. And their thoughts were, although they were hurting for Jordan at the time, they didn't want to let him down, and they didn't want to falter under those circumstances. We regrouped at the half and told the players what the situation was and what we had heard at the time, and went out in the second half and said, "Hey, let's go out and I don't want to say give one for the Gipper, but it was let's show Jordan the kind of teammates and brothers that we are."
Ended up losing the game by 1 point, 30-29. Upland, a rival for you. You guys played him during the regular season, a 1 point loss there as well. One of the things that happens in this circumstance, and I talk about this all the time, the media nowadays, it's kind of 15 minutes, whether it's good or bad news, and then it goes by, and then people forget about it. I got to ask you the question, how you and the team are doing. I mean, that was on November 22nd. Here we are coming up on Christmas. I see your Facebook post. You're constantly talking about Jordan. I see it on Facebook, and Twitter and all that. How are you and the team doing right now?
We're hanging in there, and we're holding it together and using the strength of each other to be able to work through this. And one of the things that we know that we need to do is that Jordan, his personality and his attitude were so infectious, and really this kid he's a warrior, and here's the kid that was always the first kid in the weight room Monday morning when we came in early, and he's yelling and screaming, and it was all genuine stuff because he loved to be around his teammates. He's the first guy on the field yelling and screaming and getting guys going, and we think that we owe it to him to give our best every day and to stay together as a team and stay positive, because that's the only way things get better. The other way is non-productive, and we don't want to drown in our sorrow, and we don't think that would help Jordan. So positive prayer, positive energy, I think, really go a long way.
Talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight, head coach at Santiago High School, Corona, California, Southern California, out here where High School Football America is based. Coach Steinberg, a real top-notch guy, and I'm not saying that to make him blush on the other end of the phone. I've heard that from so many other coaches out here. We're talking about Jordan Walker. You can donate if you're. Doesn't matter where you are. It's the holiday time. Dig deep if you can. Go to GoFundMe.com. Hashtag. You can find out a lot about what happens or is happening at hashtag Pray for Jordan Walker. Coach, tell us a little bit about Jordan's parents and how they're doing. I don't want you to expose too much, but obviously this has got to be some moments for them that I can't even put into my brain at this point. But can you give us a little bit how mom and dad are doing?
Well, first of all, Jordan is blessed to have Curtis and Allie as his parents. They are positive. I would imagine that any event like this would be very stressful and, hard on any family. And you can see that just the love that they have for their son and how they're there taking care of him and at his bedside when he gets up in the morning and there when he's falling asleep. They're there doing his breathing exercises with him when he goes down for any tests down in the lab. They're there for him. And just like you would expect any kind, warm, and loving parent would be, they're there. And then on top of it, they are so strong. This is the kind of thing that could really make a family crumble and fall apart. And because they love each other, they've stayed strong. I've had an opportunity to go and see them, and I'll be honest, it's helped me stay strong seeing them because I think that there's probably times where I may have fallen apart, and when you see that they're working through this and they're very strong people, it definitely you feed off of it.
One of the things that amazed me, and I think you've written about it, you're amazed at how people come together in times of need like this. The following week after your loss to Upland, Upland plays a very good Corona Centennial team, a crosstown rival for you guys, a bunch of rivals for you, and the Santiago Sharks are there at another playoff game, and they are supporting Jordan and your program. Can you tell us a little bit about that night 1 week later and what it meant and how it all came about?
That was pretty special. Upland, Coach Salter, along with their superintendent, Nancy Kelly, had come up with the idea that they could do a tribute for Jordan before the game involving his football brothers. Although you're competitors on the field, you all share the same love of the sport, and that would be Upland, Centennial, and us. And they did a short tribute for Jordan prior to the game. And then they had a local pastor lead all three teams and families in prayer, and it was really something just very overwhelming and very special to see other teams show their support. And both Upland and Centennial had the number 55 on the front of their helmets, which was very, very cool.
The thing that makes high school football so special. We're talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight, head coach at Santiago High School in Southern California. His player, Jordan Walker, was injured in a game back on November the 22nd, a major spinal cord injury. He's recovering from that. Hearing a lot of the information that happened, since then and what happened then. Please go to GoFundMe.com. Hashtag is Pray for Jordan Walker and donate if you can. Let's wrap up before we go into what's ahead, because we're going to talk a little bit about the 2014 season because I'm so excited for that. But let's wrap up with education here. And we get bombarded nowadays with the concussion problems and head injuries and spinal cord injuries. What did this incident do for you as far as from a coaching standpoint, as far as educating your players, teaching better techniques, whatever it may be, even though, as we said, it was a freak accident?
Sure, yeah, and I certainly don't think this was an incident that was from a lack of technique or strength. It was just one of those things that, just like getting the chance of getting struck by lightning, literally one in a million. But as coaches, I think that to protect our players from concussions and spinal cord injuries, there are some things that we can do, which we do in our program, and that's, number one, making sure that they've got the best of the best for helmets. I know there's that Virginia Tech study that's out there, and there's all kinds of studies that would show the the helmets and their ratings. Definitely making sure that helmets fit properly. And then the third one is through strength training, making sure that we don't leave out the neck area. And the neck is a huge factor in being able to help decrease the incidence of concussions or even neck injuries in some instances. So we're going to do everything we can from our end to ensure the safety of our players.
Talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight on High School Football America. He's the head coach at Santiago High School in Corona, California. 6-6 this past season, and let's look ahead because I'm all excited for the 2014 season already. You've got a pretty darn good quarterback that I got to see in the first game this year, Blake Barnett, who just made his verbal. And tell me a little bit about Blake and the team you have coming back in 2014, and how excited you are to get them ready for that season.
Sure, we're very excited, and we're going to play another killer non-league schedule again. But we've got some holes to fill. We've had some dynamite players that we're losing to graduation, but I always like seeing the development during the off season. And just like some of those players, and Blake would be one of them, we had lots of players under the radar that quickly came up. And were on everybody's radar as the season progressed, and like I said, Blake being one of them. And so we're pretty excited to see who are going to be the next guys that fill the roles at the variety of different positions in the program. And I think that Blake had an exceptional year, and he's one of the top quarterbacks not only in California but in the country that are returning. And 2015 may be one of the stronger classes for quarterbacks, so it really says a lot about him.
Especially out here in Southern California. He makes his verbal to Notre Dame. Tell me a little bit about his decision to go there and make it early, which takes some of the pressure off from all these recruiting nuts that are constantly trying to figure out where kids are going.
Yeah, it's they say it's tough being a kid nowadays, and that would definitely be evident in all the recruiting stuff that's going on. And I think maybe it slowed it down. It hasn't stopped. People are still asking about him and stuff. But, one of the things that was very important for Blake would be, career after football. And he wanted to make sure that he was going to go to one of the better academic institutions. And, everybody knows that Notre Dame could arguably be, America's college football team. So there's a lot of history and tradition at that school. And he really appreciated the fact that the coaches really brought a family atmosphere there and cared about the young men in the program, and academics was something that was definitely stressed. And he liked the legacy of quarterbacks that had been through Notre Dame as well.
Not a bad place to play football. Talking with Jeff Steinberg tonight, head coach at Santiago High School in Southern California. And let's bring it back to what began the conversation, which is your injured player, Jordan Walker, recovering from a major spinal cord injury suffered back in November. At the taping of this, you're getting ready to go to another fundraiser tonight. Tell me a little bit about what goes through your head. I know you've gone through several of these right now, but what kind of thoughts do you have and emotions do you have going to such an event like this?
I got to tell you, I'm really excited and maybe overwhelmed a little bit. I know there's going to be a phenomenal turnout tonight, and there were some men in the community and one of our coaches on staff who kick-started this event for tonight, and they're going to have go-kart racing available. There's going to be food there for sale, and they're going to have just one of the most incredible auctions that was ever put together in a short period of time. I know they've got the Green Bay Packers signed to football. There's going to be items from the San Diego Chargers. I know that the Cincinnati Bengals had given us a jersey with a player's autograph. There's going to be so many different things. And the greatest thing about it is that every penny that is made tonight is going to go towards helping this young man.
That is awesome to hear. Talking about Jordan Walker, and you can learn more and you can donate by going to GoFundMe.com. The hashtag is Pray for Jordan Walker. You have all of our prayers and support, anything we can do to help your program. Jeff, you've welcomed us with open arms since we came out here. We appreciate that. You are a class act, and when you said you went from coach to dad, I have no doubt about that happened when you were out there that night of the injury. So we just wish nothing but all the best for Jordan and for your program.
Thanks,
and have a Merry Christmas and good luck and enjoy the fundraiser tonight.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
You're very welcome. Again, go to GoFundMe.com. The hashtag Pray for Jordan Walker. We'll have some stuff up on our Twitter plus on the website on how you can donate. Taking a break, wrapping up the show. When we come back, you're listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network. Football players, listen up. I'm going to tell you about a great new product and a new sponsor here at High School Football America. And if you're one of those players that when you're playing on field turf, those nasty pieces of rubber get in your shoes and just annoy the heck out of you, well, there's a product out there that's going to take care of that. It is innovative and it's American made. It's called the Debris Inhibitor Razor. And the razor is spelled R-A-Z-U-R. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of the athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris also out of the gym bags and out of locker rooms. It's favorited by athletes who want that look of tape, by trainers who no longer have time to tape only for show, and of course by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in their house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor at TDIRazor.com is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable. It's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee, and like I said at the beginning, it is 100% American-made. We love that at High School Football America. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping shoelaces tight. It is fully customizable via screen print or embroidery, machine washable, and most important, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is available in black, white, and pink, and other colors may be specially ordered. Sizes are available from the youth level right up to that Bigfoot, the extra large shoe at 14 to 17. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 other partners, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced product engineering with superior fabric construction, patented design, and its proven innovation. That is the Debris Inhibitor Razor, a new sponsor here at High School Football America. We highly recommend you check them out at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled R-A-Z-U-R. When you contact them, mention you heard the ad on High School Football America. You'll be glad you did. Time to wrap things up here. Show number 100 in the books. And again, we thank you for tuning in and listening each and every week as we just enjoy doing this show. I'll tell you, we work hard throughout the week. This is a little bit of relaxation for me to sit back and talk to all the great coaches around the country. I tweeted out earlier today that in the course of doing these 100 shows, we have touched 39 states, some of them multiple times. No story is too small for us. We try and give you stuff that goes just beyond the rankings and the recruiting. We try to give you great stories about great programs and their great communities, and we just thank you for receiving our bend on high school football so well. I want to thank our guest on the show tonight, starting with Steve Spiewak of Max Preps. Steve does a great job always of coming on the show here and enlightening everyone on what's going on from the national perspective. Does a great job with his national rankings, which will come out on Monday at maxpreps.com. Also want to thank Jeff Steinberg from Santiago High School in Corona, California, and we wish Jordan Walker, his player, a speedy recovery, a healthy recovery, and that, of course, goes out to his mom and dad as well, and all of the football family at Santiago High School. Jeff Steinberg, one of the class acts out here in Southern California, who opened his arms up to us and said, hey, welcome here, whatever we can do to help, we're here to do that for you. So please go to GoFundMe.com. The hashtag is Pray for Jordan Walker, and just if you can around the holiday times, keep him in your prayers, and if you're able to donate, please help out the family there. They can certainly use your help at this time of year. I want to thank all of our sponsors as we finish. This is our last show for 2013. We will be doing taking a couple of weeks off for the holidays, and we will be back in January, on January the 9th with our next show. But don't forget our top 25, our final top 25 coming out on the website at highschoolfootballamerica.com at noon on Sunday. Our sponsor is Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, the TDI Razor, TDIRazor.com. The code to get a discount for the debris inhibitor razor to keep those pesky rubber crumbs from field turf out of your shoes is HSFBARZR1. Don't forget, it's not just for football. This is a great product for soccer, for lacrosse, any sort of sport that is played on field turf. This is a great product. And please follow them on Twitter. Brought to you tonight by the Maxwell Football Club at maxwellfootballclub.org and by webleets.com. Changing the face of sports recruiting. Go get your free student-athlete profile at webleets.com. Well, that's going to do it for us for tonight. We're going to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Can't wait to be talking to you in January. January 9th is the next show. Again, Top 25 coming out Sunday at noon. Thank Corey King back in Ohio there all year long, making sure we keep moving smoothly throughout the show, and we appreciate everything he does. And Scott Z and Tony K at the Artist First Radio Network, great supporters of us at High School Football America. We hope you have a healthy and happy and safe Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We'll talk to you in 2014. For now, this is Jeff Fisher saying good night and good sports from sunny Southern California. You've been listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network.